Cleaning up marks on a digital image is a useful skill to have, whether it be restoring a damaged physical print back to its former glory, or simply removing unwanted censored dust marks and other blemishes from a digital photograph. Today, I'm going to share with you 2 essential retouching tools on Photoshop, as well as show you my surface smoothing method. My name's Professor Patel, and welcome to the Photography Parlour. Okay, so I've got my coffee in hand for editing. Let's head over to Photoshop. So here we have a nice portrait of Professor Patel mid-conversation on his give-apart banana phone. But what's this? He's got stickers all over his face that he forgot to take off before the shoot. How ever will we remove them? I'm going to show you how to use 2 retouching tools today. Firstly, we have the Clone Stamp tool. The shortcut is S. By selecting this, we can essentially copy areas of the picture and duplicate them on other areas. For example, if we wanted to make a copy of this musical note, we'd quite simply hold Alt on our keyboard, click on the area that we'd like to copy, and then brush it in by clicking and dragging onto whichever area that we wish to drop it onto. You can create some very bizarre effects and looks using these and kind of multiply anything. There we are, look, perfect. The brilliant thing about the Clone Stamp tool is the fact that it works like a brush tool. So you've got hardness controls, you've got size controls, and it gives you this nifty preview of the area of what will come underneath it if you deal with that current selection. Next, I'd like to show you probably my most used healing tool, and that is the patch tool. The shortcut is J. This is my favourite tool because even though it's automated, it gives you lots of control. So essentially how it works is you draw a selection over the thing that you'd like to remove from the photograph. You then pull that selection over to an area that's similar to what's underneath it, so in this case another piece of skin tone on the forehead, and you let go. And Photoshop does the rest. And by utilising this tool, very, very quickly, you can tidy up an entire image and remove any unwanted blemishes. There. Perfect. All gone in a matter of seconds. So by utilising the Clone Stamp tool and the Patch tool, within a couple of minutes, you can quite easily tidy up an image. There. So now I'd like to show you guys how to create smooth surface textures. In this case, the surface that I'm talking about is skin. And to do this, we're going to use layer masks and multiple layers and a few different filters from up in the filter menu. So first step, click and drag your background layer into the new layer icon on your layers palette and you create the background copy. And we're going to do that twice. We're going to use 2 layers here so that we can compare the changes that we make as we go along. So hiding the first layer and clicking on the middle layer there, we're going to go up to filter and we're going to add noise. Now this will make it all grainy, which on the surface doesn't really look great and you're normally trying to avoid this. But in this case, what we want to do is give the next filter something to grab onto and to work with. So we're going to go up into filter again and we're going to go down to noise and click on median. There. And what you'll see is that the median filter kind of takes any information from the pixels around it and forms these big blocky shapes. So we'll hit OK and you'll immediately see what's happening there. Now the next thing that we're going to do is apply a blur. So once again, dive up into filter, go down to blur, and we're going to select Gaussian blur. And there. This is that kind of milky smooth texture that we want to create. Adjust the slider and see what happens on this one, but we're going to go for about there. Perfect. So hit OK. And now we want to bring up our top layer again. Hello again. Click on the top layer, apply a layer mask, select a black brush, and we're going to boost our opacity up to a full 100% just to see what this does. Here we are. So if I paint in my forehead with a big soft brush, this happens. And and I have got a glossy, toy-like, silky smooth skin texture that looks entirely unrealistic and utterly terrifying. There. But we don't want that. We want this to be incredibly subtle. So we're going to go back a few stages in history, and we're going to lower this opacity to more like 20% and just make one sweeping move with the brush. There. And maybe just another one, so we're going up to 40% application, and we're just going to work into the image in this manner. We're going to go around the different areas of the image that we'd like to smooth out a little bit, trying to keep it consistent. There. Maybe a little bit of work on the lips. Perfect. Less is more. Now, once we've done that, the next thing that we're going to do is flatten down these layers by clicking on the top one here, or we can quite simply go to Layer and Merge Visible. And there we go, we're back down to one layer again, and we're going to make another layer copy. So we're going to click and drag that into the New Layer tab. And what we're going to do now is use the colour of the skin in order to smooth off areas of the skin, if that makes any sense. So if you select your brush and hold Alt, this brings up the colour picker, where we can click on areas of the skin and use, once again, just a low opacity brush, probably of around 9% or 3% even. And then just start to brush in to areas that we wish just to smooth out and lighten up. For example, just under the eyes. There. And we're going to use the color selector to select the pink of the lips, and then just subtly brush in just to smooth everything off. Brilliant. And there. If we compare that to when we started, we have retouched and tidied up our image. And there we have it, the basics of retouching on Photoshop. Now, just one more thing to bear in mind. Regarding the tools and processes that we've used today, just because you can remove something on Photoshop doesn't mean that you necessarily should. Something that could be considered as a blemish or an imperfection on somebody's skin actually could be perceived as character and storytelling, and an important part of who they are. So just bear that in mind when it comes to retouching. Celebrate all the wonderful differences that we have on our faces and bodies. In the meantime, stay happy, keep shooting, and I'll see you next time in the parlour.